I request all of you to please listen so that you can ask the questions or whatever. Yes, Shreya, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you share your screen. Are you sharing from laptop?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, share it.
Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, it is visible. Okay, I request all of you to be in the listening mode. I will ask the questions at last. Okay, you can start, Shreya.
Okay, first of all, good afternoon to everyone. Today I'm going to present a model of organization. These are the contents of my presentation. First one is model organization. Means what is model organization? Then types of model organization and summary. First, it is the definition of model organization. An organizational model defines the hierarchy, team development, and consumers' role in how a business operates. Another way to describe the organizational model is the organizational structure. Structure can be simple or complex. Organizational structure is a system that outlines how certain activities are directed in order to achieve the goals of an organization. Organizational model describes objective and structure of an organization in terms of roles and norms. Models sometimes incorporate a variety of model structure to meet the need of consumers most effectively. These are the 5 common organizational models which are considered in the today's market. First one is line organization, and functional organizational, line and staff organization, project-based organization, and matrix organization. These organizational models helps defines responsibilities and team workflow of the management. Each of these structure, when properly laid out in the organizational chart, shows the chain of command in any organization. It helps define responsibilities and team workflow management. First one is the line organizational model. Uh, in the line organizational model, everybody is responsible for his work and he is accountable to his boss. In the line organizational model, it is a very simple and hierarchical structure that could have the CEO over the operations director and administrative director. These two letters means CEO and the director. They are equivalent and don't respond to each other, but have the same level of the influence in the company's structure. Since authority and responsibility flow in the unbroken straight line, so it is called a line organization. A line organization is simple to establish and can be easily understood by the employees. There is no complexity in the organization because every person is accountable to only one boss. Uh, it is a very oldest type of organization and it is very simple organization. It can be it is appropriate for the small business. Responsibility for the performance of the task is fixed upon the definite individuals. Therefore, there is accountability of delegated tasks. In the line organization, authority always flows from top level to lower level. Second one is the functional organizational model. Functional organizational structure helps organization run their business, especially those involved with ongoing operations. Here, employees feel secure, perform well, and tend to be highly skilled. A functional structure divides the organization into departments based on their functions. And also, employees are grouped by their knowledge, skills, allowing them to achieve the high performance. It is a structure of functional organizational model. Uh, CEO, it is a main of the functional organizational model. It is a business structure that groups the employees by specialty, and each is headed by the functional manager and employees grouped according to their roles. Functional departments are sometimes referred to as silos. That means each department is vertical and disconnected from others, and the communication flows straight up through the department head to the top management. Since employees are grouped according to their skills and experience, they gain more knowledge and expertise and become specialists, making them highly efficient and productive. Here, all authority remains with the functional manager. Third one, it is a line and staff model. Line and staff organization is a new form of line organization. Means line and staff organization is a modification of line organization, and it is more complex than the line organization. Line and staff relation refers to the pattern in which the staff specialists advise the line manager how to perform their duties. Here arrows are showing, dotted arrows are showing the staff responsibility, and simple arrows are showing the line authority. The distinguishing characteristics between the simple line organization and line and staff organization is the multiple layers of management. We can distinguish the line organization and line staff organization on the basis of discipline. Means in the line organization, discipline is very strict, but in the line and staff organization, discipline is loose. Line organization is appropriate for the small organization, but line and staff organization is appropriate for large organization with number of employees. In the line organization, authority flows as command, but in the line and staff organization, authority flows as command plus advice. These types of organization works on dual relationship in terms of responsibility used over the employees. In this structure, authority flows from top to bottom. Uh, in the line and staff organization, decisions are made by experts and specialists. In the line and staff organization, both the line managers and the staff have their own important role to play. Line and staff organization combines the line organization with the staff departments that support and advise the line department. Fourth one is the project-based model. Project-based organization are the temporary in nature and are developed to fulfill the some defined set of results for a project. These companies do most of their work on the project basis and are therefore structured around the projects. Here we can see the project manager, and under them are staffs. In the project-based organization, project is the primary unit for performing the certain tasks. These types of organization have team members having different skill sets from the different function of areas. As the name suggested in a project-based organization, projects are main units for conducting the undertakings. There is a CEO director at the top manager of various departments under him. Under them are project team consisting of various members like analyst, architect, developer, tester, etc. Business that needs the expert, fast innovation like most likely to be suited for the project-based organization. Many business like entertainment, construction, aerospace, etc. organize their work by dividing into various projects. A project involves the development of a specific product targeted at selected customers. Project managers have a lot of autonomy and they are responsible for delivering results. They select team members, allocate tasks, and oversees performance. Then the project manager conducts the performance appraisals and the prepare career development plans for the project team members. This will improve the employees' loyalty to project goals, also flexibility and response time to changing circumstances improve. Fifth one is the matrix management. Matrix model. Matrix management is an organization structure in which some individual report to more than one supervisor or leader relationships described as to the solid line reporting. Matrix organization is a form of organization structure in which employees report to multiple bosses rather than one. There are different types of matrix management, including strong, weak, and balanced. Companies that have multiple business units and international operations, upon closer inspections, may apply matrix structure in different ways. Matrix organization structure is a combination of two or more types of organizational structure. In the matrix organization, different people from diverse departments work together, it helps solve problem in more efficient way. Organization structure can be complex, but it helps achieving the ultimate goals. One of the biggest pros of using matrix organization is that allow sharing of highly skilled resources between functional units and projects. Communications are open, which helps knowledge move throughout the organization with less obstruction. When different people from diverse departments work together, it helps solve problems in more efficient way. So the summary of these models, organizational structure is imperative because without an organization cannot achieve its goal efficiently. Every organization needs a structure in order to operate systematically. The organizational structure can be used by any organization if the structure fits into the nature and the maturity of the organization. Jobs should have designed and organization should be structured through careful planning. There is no best model or structure. Model is based on the organizational goals and culture. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Shreya. You go to that first slide, whatever you have shown, where you have written the names of the models. Initial slide. Can you go to that? Initial slide. You have to only scroll that. Go to that slide. Not summary, initial. Project based. Okay, that one. Okay, you go to that previous one diagram also, that is good. So that others can view.
This one.
Okay, yes. So this good diagram, it is explained for that model of organization. So it is defining the hierarchy, team development and consumer's role in how a business is operating. Okay, so this one, it is good diagram. So how the people, so what are the other aspects also? So like they have mentioned the mission, process, roles, organizational structure, people practices. So that steps also are given. म्हणजे त्या particular organization मध्ये कुठल्या hierarchy people are working, and again what are their planning for getting the success. All the things are mentioned here. So first step it is written. Identify purpose and goals, define optimal workflow, agree on roles and responsibilities, determine reporting relationship, build systems to drive the behavior. So this is one example. Like that, if you search on the internet, like models, and if you search for the images, you will get various images which will explain the number of models. Okay, you just go to next slide, Shreya. Go to next slide.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so she has explained the 5 models. So line model, that line organizational model, functional organizational, line and staff, project based and matrix organization. Okay, so in each model, one system it is explained or one system it is expressed by considering the different parameters. Okay, so that are the points that she has explained. Okay, so if anyone has to ask some question, okay, good presentation, Shreya. So if anyone has to ask the question, you can ask. So out of these 5, which model it is best suitable or which one is commonly used? Can you tell that? This is question from my side. Shreya?
I think no model is best because as per the requirement of the company, model can be chosen.
Okay.
Means for the small business, line organization is best. For the large business, matrix or line and staff organization is best. For the function, different kinds of function or roles, functional organization is best. Depending upon the organization structure is best.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you. You can stop sharing your screen.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, next. Mahesh, are you ready with your presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I will just give you access. Wait 1 minute. So it's just request to complete it in 5 minutes so that we can conclude that part today. You can start sharing your screen.
Visible, ma'am?
Yes, yes. Okay.
Firstly, I welcome all of you, and I would like to thank you, ma'am, for giving this wonderful opportunity to me to explain some points of fourth chapter. So let me proceed. Screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, it is visible. You can continue. Yes, Mahesh, you continue. Go to next slide.
Yes, ma'am. So here is our subject name is business ethics. So why we need business ethics in any business or company, in politics or in schools, in colleges? Why we need a business ethics, and what is the importance of business ethics? So here is a definition. Business ethics is a form of applied ethics or professional ethics that examine ethical principles and moral of ethical problems that can arise in business environment, and it applies to all aspects of business conduct, and it's irrelevant to conduct of individuals and entire organization. So business ethics helps in building up consumer confidence. It leads to long-term gains, and I want to tell here is good business ethics keep customers satisfied, and they encourage people to view product of that company. Suppose I want to view some product of any company, then I am always check that whether the product is good or bad. So suppose the product is good, then I encourage other people to view that product or something. So here there is the importance of ethics, and ethics attracts more employees. When the company is reputed, then more people will be interested to work for them. So here is the chapter number 4, employees, consumers, and business ethics, and here is the agenda of chapter number 4. So there are many points, but I have taken here too. In these chapters, I'm going to explain model of organization, employee as a stakeholder, then ethical issue in firm employee relation, ethical challenges of globalization, corporate citizenship, then consumer as stakeholder, then ethical issues arises in market, then consumer and corporate citizenship, and lastly it's sustainable consumption. So here is the overview of chapter number 4. In this chapter, we will discuss a specific role of employees among the various stakeholder groups and identity issue of concern for corporation, and also identify issue of concern for corporations. Means in this chapter, discuss the employee, what is the role of employees, and what is the role of employees and stakeholder, and what are the duties of employees. And there are let me explain in upcoming slides. So here is the first point: employees as a stakeholder. In this model, you can see that here in this stakeholder model, there are two types of stakeholders: internal stakeholders, and here another is external stakeholders. So here the point name is employees as stakeholder. I highlighted here is the employees. So internal stakeholder, employees included in internal stakeholders, and manager and owners are also included in internal stakeholders. And the another part is external stakeholder, means supplier, society, government, creators, shareholders, customers are included in external stakeholders. So these two main points of stakeholders, and internal and external are 2 points. So here is the first point, employees as stakeholders. Here I clearly intermediate the employee between a product of company and customer. Employees play biggest role in product of company and customer. So here employees are primary internal stakeholders. Employees plays a defining role in strategies, tactics, and operation of organization carried out. Employees who come ahead of customers, suppliers, and community group, and especially far ahead of shareholders. Then employees have a direct stake in the company. They interact directly with customers, earn money to support themselves, and give support to business operation as well. And employee can carry out managerial, supervisory, or other functions. They typically accept benefits like incentive, career growth, and job satisfaction. So here in this slide, I mentioned the what is the role of employees as a stakeholder. Here I mentioned. Then here is the question for you. Before in early slide, I discussed these questions are based on employees as stakeholders. So can anyone respond? And employees are internal or external. These are three questions. Employees are internal or external stakeholders. Then second one is employees primary or secondary stakeholders. And the last one is employees are directly or indirectly stakeholders. Yes, friends, can anyone respond?
Okay, please respond. So he has taken actually good platform. So show your interaction. Try to give the answers. Don't hesitate. Yes.
These are simple questions.
I request all of you, both A and B division students. Please try to give the answer for his questions. Very simple.
An employee is a primary stakeholder.
Okay. Then employees are internal or external?
Internal.
And the last one is employees are direct or indirect?
Direct stakeholder.
Yes, you are right. All the answers are correct. I already discussed here in this stakeholder model. Employees are internal stakeholders. Then second slide, I have discussed that employees are primary internal stakeholders. And last one is employees are direct or indirect stakeholders. So here I mentioned that employees have a direct stake in that company. So employees are internal, primary, and direct stakeholders of that company or business. So here is the next point I want to tell you. In this chapter, ethical issues arises in firm-employee relations. So what are the issues arises in employee relations? So here there are many issues arises in, but I have taken some few and important issues arises in. So first one is discrimination, then harassment, then another one is health and safety, then nepotism and favoritism, and last one but not least, it's privacy. So let me discuss one by one. So here is discrimination. So what is discrimination and why it called as biggest problem in this world of 2021. So here one of the biggest ethical issues affecting the business world is in 21 is discrimination. So what is discrimination? Discrimination means recognition or understanding the difference between one thing and another. We generally differentiate the people from their age, gender, race, disability, and much more things. So it is unfair treatment of people and groups based on characteristics such as race, gender, age, and sexual orientation also. So it is in Marathi we can call it as discrimination means bhedbhav. It's based on like age, gender, religion, or disability. So it's including discrimination. Then the second one is second issue arises in employee relation is harassment. So it is also biggest issue, and the second major ethical issue in business space is harassment, which often related to racism and sexism. Harassment can come from anyone in the company as well as from customers. And here I have in third sentence, I have mentioned the what it affects and what is the impact of on employee. So harassment can have a long-term impact on employees, and psychologically it terms earnings and even impacting a person's career for life, entire career life path. So harassment can include pressure, then praise, force, insult. So these are the factors included in harassment. Then the third point is third issue arises that is health and safety. So it is most important while joining the company. Employees always think that whether the workplace is health workplace while the company is giving whether the company is giving good or healthy or safe workplace or not. So employee always think that in that manner. And the primary aim of employee is that to achieve a safe and healthy workplace. It's not to to achieve money or that. Firstly, employee we always check that whether company is providing healthy and safe workplace or not. And the second privacy is for money. So then next point is nepotism and favoritism. So why nepotism and favoritism is also a issue arises in employee firm relationship. So nepotism, here I mentioned the definition of both. So nepotism is the when a company hires someone from being a family member. So usually the person, usually the manager, we can call it as he hires his family member, even he didn't check the background or education qualification or skill of that person. Without checking, he directly give a chance to his or her family members without giving a chance to non-family members. So it's not only happens in business, but it also happens in politics, entertainment, sports, fitness, and other activities also. It's not only part of business; it's also part of other activities also. Then the second in that is favoritism. Favoritism occurs when a manager treats an employee better than other workers for personal reason. So favoritism is the workplace is when a person, usually a manager, demonstrate a treatment to a person over the other employee for reason to the performance. It can hurt the whole what you can say that organization. Means it promotes a toxic culture. The both nepotism and favoritism. It's not good for that organization. If the manager is doing again and again in that, so it's not good for that organization, and it promotes toxic culture. So then last one, but it not least, it's privacy. So privacy means it includes personal information, then secrets, then personal lifetimes, and employee has government has given right to employees have a right to keep private facts about themselves confidential. So employees have recently found that distinction between work life and personal life has become less clear, and this is mainly happens due to advance in technology. For one thing, employee may punish for post or on social media, particularly if they complain about work condition or the company as a whole. Employee may even hire workers who post controversial statement that go against the company value. So these are the issues arising in employees firm relationship. Then the next point of this chapter is ethical challenges of globalization. So what are the ethical challenges arises in globalization, and these are the moral dilemmas of globalization I mentioned here. Then globalization refers to shift towards the more integrated and interdependent world economy. So globalization had brought a lot of people into contact with world by learning the barriers of the face flow of goods and services. So here is the moral dilemmas of globalization. It includes environmental issues, cultural diversity, labor issue, marketing, human rights, and lastly, codes of conduct. So these are the ethical challenges of globalization. Then the next point is corporate citizenships and employees' relationship towards sustainable employment. So why we need that to move towards the sustainable employment, and why corporate citizenships important. So here I mentioned a definition of corporate citizenships. So corporate citizenship refers to an organization responsibility to create business value by caring for the well-being of all stakeholders, including the environment. So the goal is to produce higher standards of living and quality of life for the communities that surrounds them. This is the main what you can say that goal of that citizenship. And we know that the three main pillars of corporate citizenship is include economic, environmental, and social. These are the three main pillars of corporate citizenship. Then the next point is consumers as stakeholders. As I already discussed that employees as a stakeholder in at the starting of my presentation, I discussed that employees as a stakeholder. Now here there is consumer as a stakeholder. Here I in this figure we can see that it is the part of consumers means customers, or we can say that purchaser. Here we can see that it is the part of external stakeholders. As I already discussed that employees. Then here right now I am discussing customers or consumers. It is the part of external stakeholders. So here, consumers as stakeholders. Consumers means customer, who I call it as, and also called as purchaser. So customers are people who view business products, and customers expect you to view the best quality from the business at a fair price. Means a customer, suppose I am a customer and I am going to shop some electronic gadgets or whatever I want to shop, then I always think that what is the quality of that product, and I always think that what is the price of that product. It is the fair price for that quality or it is not. Then I am always going to check that whether it is good or not. So a business doesn't exist without customer. So here is the main point: the business doesn't exist without customer. Customer get product from business, and because of that, they are interested in how a business performs. In turn, business need to make conscious efforts to relate the customers and meet their needs. So here the customer, what is the customer expected to be of best quality and at a fair price. But businessmen or the employees of that company always think that what is the need of customers or what they want. They always think of that. So customer expect to the business to provide efficient and high quality products and services. In general, the customers need to extremely important the success of my business, any business, and customers are directly impacted by the product quality and a business gives. So now here is the question, same questions, but I already discussed about employees. Now here about customers or consumers. So can anyone reply the same questions like employees as a stakeholder? Here just the difference is instead of employee, I have taken customers. So can anyone respond? Hello.
Yes, please give answers.
External stakeholder.
And the second?
Secondary stakeholder, indirect stakeholder.
Yes, it's right. I already discussed that here. Stakeholders models in that it's customers or consumers. It's say external stakeholders. It's part of external stakeholders. Then second one is privacy. It's a primary or secondary. I think it's primary stakeholders, and the direct or indirect, it's direct stakeholders. Here I mentioned that the customers are directly impacted by product quality and business use. So then the next
just
point
a minute. I have one doubt.
Yes.
What is the exact answer you want to tell? It is primary or secondary stakeholder? What is there in the slide? Can you just show that?
Here.
So where it is mentioned, can you just highlight primary or secondary stakeholder that I am asking?
I think it's not mentioned.
Okay, Vaishnavi, you have told the answer as secondary, no, or primary?
Secondary.
Okay, so where you have mentioned that I am asking, Mahesh. Can you tell?
This slide mentioned.
पहिल्या कुठल्या स्लाइड मध्ये आहे बघा, चेक करायला.
नाही ते हे जो होत ते एम्प्लॉईज होत, एम्प्लॉईज ॲज स्टेकहोल्डर. कंझ्युमरचं नाही मेन्शन केलेलं. कंझ्युमर
okay, no problem. Just you can think on that and later on you can discuss. Okay. You continue.
Then the another point is ethical issues in marketing. Means I already discussed the ethical issues in here. I discussed ethical issues arises in firm-employee relation. Then here I am going to discuss ethical issues arises in marketing. So why ethical issues arising in marketing? And so due to dishonesty and what you can say that dishonesty in advertising or cheating customers, then price discrimination and unfair price. So these are the causes of arises ethical issues in marketing. And to avoid that, to be honest and establish a strong foundation of that company and build a culture of integrity and build the trust and credibility. These are the ways to minimize these ethical issues in marketing. So these are the two problems. Ethical problems in marketing stem from conflicts and disagreements. So these are the main reasons why issues occur. First one is conflicts and disagreements. Then each party in marketing transaction brings a set of expectations regarding how the business relationships will exist, and how transactions should be conducted. Each facet of marketing has ethical danger points as discussed below. So these are the points. First one is market research, the market audience, ethics in advertising and promotion, delivery channels, deception, advertising, and ethics, and then anti-competitive practices, and last one is pricing ethics. So these are the points. Then here is the last point of the chapter. It's sustainable consumption. So here I defined a definition of that. Sustainable consumption means ESC in short form is the use of material products, energy, and immaterial services in such a way that their use minimizes impact on the environment, so that human needs can be met not only the present but also for future generation. So here we have to think about the future generation also. So what is the aim of that sustainable consumption? So doing more and better with less product is the main aim of that sustainable consumption. And in increasing net welfare gains from economics activities by reducing resources use, degradation, and pollution, while increasing the quality of life. So this is the about sustainable consumption. And in this diagram, this is are the stages of steps or towards sustainable consumption. So here steps towards sustainable consumption. In this figure, we can see that reuse, reduce, and recycle. If you go in this manner in every product, then definitely we can achieve sustainable consumption. Steps towards sustainable consumption. On the practical level, there is much that business, government, and consumer could do seek more sustainable modes of consumption. Then here are the steps: producing environmental responsible product recapture, and service replacement for products. Then product sharing and reducing demands. These are the steps towards sustainable consumption. So this is last slide. So thank you, everyone.
Okay. So thank you, Mahesh, for this good PPTs you have prepared and good points you have explained by understanding it. That is good. So anyone want to ask the question? And the method which you have used, that is also appreciable. Asking the questions and getting involvement of other. So good. Keep it up, the same enthusiasm for your next project presentation and all other things.
Yes,
okay, good efforts. But just one thing from my side. That model of organization actually I had asked. So have you prepared any kind of model? That I had asked, no, actually.
Many friends have taken PPTs and presentation on that, so that's why I skipped that part and taken further points of the fourth chapter. Okay, no problem. Good. Anyone want to ask the question? Please ask. Otherwise, we can move to the next student, Omkar. Anyone want to ask the question? Okay. Thank you, Mahesh. You can stop your screen sharing. Yes, ma'am.
Omkar, are you ready? Hello.
Ma'am, can I present in the next lecture?
Why? What happened?
Ma'am, 80% is ready, 20% is not ready.
Okay, no problem. In next lecture, you take it. But what we will do, we will take it in the last 10 minutes because I just want to take the next points. Actually, I was expecting somewhat less time, but it is good that you are beyond my expectations and you have prepared it very nicely. But anyhow, from the syllabus coverage point of view, I have to continue with some these next points from chapter number 5. So in last 10 minutes, we will take in the next lecture for your presentation. Okay, so just 1 minute. I will share my screen. Just 1 minute. So we were studying these points. So almost we have completed the, my screen is visible to everyone? Hello? Yes.
Yes,
Screen is
ma'am.
visible. So here we have completed the first part almost of the chapter number 5. So that is civil society. So what is business ethics? Definition of CSO. Then what are the characteristics of civil society organization? When they are considered as stakeholder, what are the other things that we have to consider? Then what are the ethical issues? So trustworthiness, they should have, okay, I will just summarize it in 2 minutes and then we will stop. Ethical issues. So these are the ethical issues in CSO. मग त्याच्याशी related कुठले ethical principles आहेत, that points we have seen. Then globalization and CSO. So what will be the effect of the globalization on CSO? Some of the CSOs, they are not working on domestic level, whereas from domestic level, they have shifted to the globalized level. So that is the meaning here. And examples are this Amnesty International, Greenpeace. So these are the globalized CSO examples. So why they are going global, that reasons we have seen. Ethical issues in globalization. So that points also we have discussed. And these stages in the corporate citizenship, that stages we will see. We will just repeat that points or quickly revise, and then it will almost complete the first part, and then we will see the second part of this chapter number 5, that is environmental values. Okay, so what are the points in the environmental ethics that we need to consider? Okay, so that we will discuss in the next lecture. So we will stop here today. Thank you for all my students for giving the good presentations. Okay, so thank you. We will stop here. Just type your number in the chat box and you can leave the meeting.